everybody. How's it going today? My name is Steve Brummer. I'm a partner with a company called IoT Group, and we're welcoming you today to the fourth in the executive briefing series that we're doing with Tago, with Fabio. And we're very happy to have with us today Amin from Ellenex in Australia. That's kind of why we're up early today on the East Coast for these kind of programs. And today we're going to talk about end-to-end industrial IoT that delivers, and a little bit about the applications and the ROI and the challenges and what we're seeing from industrial IoT and into the future. So the format for today is going to be the same as it's been for the other ones, which is a little brief introduction onto what we do and who we are and what our thoughts are around industrial IoT. Going to go back and forth with a couple of questions and go from there. So same format, same thing. We're going to keep going. It's working for all of us, and I'm glad you're all here. So Fabio, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Tago, and give me an idea of what you think about industrial IoT.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, I'm Fabio Rosa. I'm the CEO and co-founder of TagoIO, a company here located in Raleigh, North Carolina. And we design a platform that helps companies, system integrators, specialists, consultants to build a solution based on the cloud solution that you provide. We provide all the connectivity part for between the cloud side, the sensor side, or the network server side, data visualization, analytics, and so on. And although there are different areas that our customers use it today and apply Tago, industrial application is something that's growing like crazy. We always talk about this IIoT. There are big companies work on that, and now I think there are a lot of space for mid-sized and small companies to also take advantage of that. So we truly believe that there are a lot of opportunities that people can take inside of their company, in their process, to use a platform like Tago and sensors like Ellenex are going to talk today to improve their process. So I think it's a huge opportunity.
Excellent. Amin, you're our guest. Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it. And can you give us a little brief intro to yourself, to Ellenex, and your thoughts around industrial IoT and how you're working in it?
Thank you very much, Steve, for having me here. And thanks for setting the time in unusual time, early in the morning. Thank you. That's unavoidable. At Ellenex, the idea of Ellenex born based on the challenges and the issues we've been facing with our partners and customers in the field, specifically based on our more than 20 years experience in the design and manufacturing of the sensors and implementing the solutions in the field. We have this issue with the partners and the customers, a challenge of having a battery operated solutions and deliver the data to the platform and manage the data and manage the asset on the field. We focus on developing the product based on LPWAN technologies. Initially, we started with Sigfox, then expanded to the LoRaWAN. And now we have a range of the product based on the Sigfox, LoRaWAN, Narrowband IoT, Cat M1, and low power satellite. So covers most of the industrial remote applications and offer the solutions to the customers. Our core of the business is based on the pressure and the level measurements, but we are offering a range of other sensors and the product to our customers and partners across the globe.
Fantastic. And everybody, my name is Steve Brummer. As I said, I'm with IoT Group. We are a worldwide strategy and execution focused firm that helps companies with their monetization and commercialization strategies. So if you're looking to make money in the IoT space and you got a great product or disruptive technology or service, we are your organization to help you either get to the US markets like Amin, or for helping you figure out what the distribution channel or the channel strategy needs to look like to bring your product to market here in the US markets. So first question, Amin, I'm going to ask you, what's the, we talk about consumer IoT and, LoRaWAN is getting into consumer products as well, but you said, MBIT, Cat M, you look at some of the technologies that are out there. Tell us a little bit about the thought process of the difference between consumer IoT and industrial IoT.
Yep. So if I want to, mainly I'm focusing on the LPWAN applications and the applications in the remote area. So right. Put industrial application inside the factory aside. I'm focusing on the application on the mining, utility, agriculture, wherever you are going to, the remote area and having the challenge of access to the power or connectivity. So in such application, when we compare these industrial applications with the consumer, I think the first thing is that limitations of the access to the device. So in terms of the hardware, electronic, firmware, and connectivity, it should be robust enough, and it should be, strong enough to transmit the data in a reliable way. That reliability, I think, is a key differentiator of the consumer applications and the industrial applications in the remote area.
Excellent. And Fabio, we've heard this industrial 4.0 stuff for, I don't know, years maybe. And everybody's talking about it and digital transformation. But what are the keys? I mean, IoT, industrial IoT is being accepted and adopted and deployed, but not in the crazy numbers that a lot of these analysts thought it was going to be. What do you think is missing? What do you think is causing a delay in the rollout of more and more IoT, industrial IoT applications and devices?
Yeah, I think people is realizing the importance and the impact that such implementation will always have inside of the corporation and the people's life. So it's nice to talk about the technology and the process, and that's very important, right? But also we need to understand what the impact are create for people. So what that means that you may have, you have your machines, then you want to automate that are PLC forever, right? Programmable logic controllers, they're there already, but normally they are isolated. Then you want to bring these, let's say, to people through notifications and be more mobile and so on. But that starts to impact people, how people work, how the staff will make the decisions with those information. So sometimes it can be more information, more things for me as employees to do. So this can delay things a little bit. And I think, frankly, that was a little bit about technology coming now, a little bit about business model, but a lot about how these would impact the people, and those who are work to implement that really didn't take this in consideration the way I think it should. But now I think because there are a lot of ways to integrate the IoT with their current system, I think that's getting better. What I mean is that they don't need to change much what the operator is doing. They can help and not be able to or demand to use a different system. For example, we at Tago, we provide dashboards and so on, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of companies in the IoT that say, okay, I have this system from Tago, but I want you to process the data and send this to my current system, my legacy, right? I think that's helped a lot. And I can see now, talk with a customer that say, now I am able to get the result without it to think to have everything fresh with a millions of dollar investment. So I can integrate with my legacy system and getting better from there. I think that's what it changed when at least we talked with the customers that implemented IoT in their companies.
Excellent. Since all three of us do a fair amount of international business in our businesses, I wanted to ask a little bit about it because we all have experience in it and the audience may not. So, I mean, you do work in 50 countries. You ship your products to 50 different countries. Is there a significant difference in the industrial IoT space from one end of the world to the other?
In the industry, always culture is, the playing a role, and the priorities of the customers, it's always there. But I think at the moment, today we are talking about this, the LPWAN technologies or the low power, the solutions. I think the main concern, global concern, is the connectivity. So if you pass this phase, I think it takes a couple of years, we pass this phase and go to more specific, the complex applications and deliver the solutions based on this connectivity, then that's, the requirements of the customers in different, the countries, shows the applications. Of course, we have to be, careful about the requirement of the customers. Specifically, I think the cost of the solution plays a significant role when we implement a solution somewhere in Australia. So comparing to the, the cost of the maintenance, because, that's a big country with very low population. So here, the cost of the maintenance of the device in the middle of, there's some mines in the middle of the country is totally different from for example, France, Malaysia, or other countries with a more concentrated, the population and different industries. So these are the points impacting on the scale of the products, scale of the solutions, and provide a real useful solution to the customers.
Fabio, what do you think?
Yeah, also if you see the cost of the labor, right? So we have a lot of customers in Latin America, in some very industrialized countries like Brazil, and they'll have a very big customer that the system integrators are able to bring their solution. But when they compare an hour of a machine stop work, that's not that different from a machine here in the US, let's say ballpark, but the labor cost is very different. Right? Yeah. So for you to justify and get your return on investment can be harder down there than here, right? And I agree with Amin when he said about connectivity. But at the end of the day, when you have this piece of connectivity, that make easier for you to get the data from the device without a need to, just install a cable. When you were there in the manufacturer line, you say, hey, just connect these two machines with this, 100 yards cable. Say that you cannot do that. So why not? So it's hard, but when you have wireless technology that's very robust, that you can be very smart, still respect the environment, the norms, I think we are really disrupting, and then you get your cost down to make sure that you are able to automate your machine and bring this information to your system.
Yeah, and our experience has been that it's amazing. The software, the hardware, the platform, the reason for doing it from an application standpoint is all the same, regardless of where the hell you are in the world. And that's the one great thing about our industry is that, Amin's sensors could work anywhere in the world. Your platform can work anywhere in the world. And I think we're making, I'm not saying we're making the world flat around industrial IoT, but the idea that you can rinse and repeat and duplicate this, it's hard putting all the pieces together, but we're solving problems in a similar way around the world, which is a really cool part of our industry and what we do. So Fabio, one of the things, which low power, you talk about low power, wide area, LPWA, as far as the model of what you do, but there's so many different options. We have satellite and NB and CAD-M and LoRaWAN, and now we're looking at all kinds of other things related to like Bluetooth and Zigbee and the new things. So tell me, is it confusing to a customer? Like, how do you make a decision on which one to choose?
Fabio, you want to go? Oh.
No, go first. Yeah.
So that's the every day you see the discussions between the pros and cons of these technologies. The people are fighting on that on the internet, on the social media, and try to convince others this is better than that. So based on that's one of the reasons we they develop the product based on the different technologies. Each technology has its own the capabilities and own the added values and some the weak points and the the negative points. And that's why we are offering the range of the technologies. And we have many customers. They're using a mix of these technologies. In some areas, they have to use satellite. In some areas, there's no point to use the for example, the setup, for example, network for the LoRaWAN, because already there is a, the network over there. And based on that, we, offer our solutions to the customers. The number of the devices connected, the distance between the devices, and the scale, number of the sites, and even the concerns of the customers on where the data goes and how to manage the data and the long-term, the maintenance. These are the couple of the questions we share with the customers, and the answer would be clear. Okay, this technology for your application is the best. Move forward.
Yeah, and I would say, and what Amin has done here in the Ellenex is really great and a big differentiation against others. I think I can see that our customers, common customer, realize that. Which one is the best one? Is LoRa better than this low-cost satellite, low-orbit satellites, or 3G LTE? The answer is depends, right? Depends what you want to do. But Ellenex has these kind of sensors. And I say it not because I read somewhere, it's because we help a customer to implement that, like a satellite in Australia, and say, why you need that, right? Of course, Australia is very big, but can you do this differently? Yes, but that's the best solution. So having options, I think that's the word here, right? Having options for the implementer, the system integrator, to make the decision using the same sensor and same platform and decide the middle what they want, still have the job done. I think that's is really amazing. And I don't take this for granted. Say, yeah, you can have. No, few people really have this option, and they have it. So that's a great way to give what people need and let them choose.
Yeah, and we also look, a lot of people look at pricing. They go, okay, well, I want to look at the airtime pricing or the data rate pricing. It's so close. The same price for for most of them it's around the same thing. So it's not necessarily price, but I think it is application dependent, right? So if you can handle a Mariota satellite scenario and send it every couple of hours when it passes over, and it fits your sensor technology in the middle of nowhere, then you choose satellite. But I think the options are amazing. Again, I've been in machine-to-machine IoT for 27 years. I've never seen it better than today with the amount of awesome options that you do have to send that data on a variety of different ways. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, Fabio, and question for you, Amin, to answer also, what are the typical applications that you're seeing now, industrial IoT? Like what they hate to say rank them, but what are the most popular ones that you're involved in, Fabio?
Yeah, I think the main one is really monitor machines, right? To get alerts, notification when something, a problem is detected, right? That's the basic one. But what we haven't seen inside of that the legacy products, equipment are those that we have seen growing like a crazy. And for example, we have just one customer that started for us this week, and they have 1.3 million assets they track. They have 150 customers, so they decide to use the TagoIO as their platform, and they know that a number, kind of small, but still absolute big number, hundreds of thousands of assets, can be tracked and monitored using IoT, right? Other things, of course, monitor bins, silos, to refill with the whatever you have inside, right? That's all the application. And of course, then you have the maintenance, predictive maintenance. That can be a little bit tricky. There are a lot of investment nowadays on companies that have like electric motors that you can anticipate the problem and so on. But with the right intelligence, you can give the first steps and save a lot of money. And the other thing that we have seen in this area is a combination to track machine and people. We haven't seen a lot of system integrators say, okay, that's not only about the machine anymore, it's about the employees. Are they in the safe place during the time? If it's required to have 2 employees operate a machine, how can I be sure that there are 2 operate at the same time? And how I track this for safety purpose and so on. So how to use this data to optimize also has been brought to light recently. So optimization based on this data has been very important. So it's not anymore about machine, really go to people, how people operate them.
I mean, with your business set up the way it is, I mean, are you seeing specific growth areas within industrial IoT that where more of your products are being used?
Yep. So for our application, wherever there is a liquid or gas under pressure, so yes, we have a product for that. That's the area of focus for us. It doesn't mean it is the fastest growing area, but we see really the clear the outcome of the solutions for our range of the customers. The customers in the water industry, gas industry, the oil and mining, they have pipes under pressure, so they have to monitor the pipes, the pressure of the pipe, temperature of the pipes, and even we have some the applications of being sure that this asset, which is very expensive and very the critical for many applications, many the conditions, So they have to monitor that. They have to be, they're aware what's going on that one. From the other side, there are liquid storage, gas storage. So they want to know how much they have and when is the, the best time, optimized time to refill it or be sure there is no shortage on supply. It could be water, it could be diesel, it could be chemical, fertilizer. These are the, the range of the applications we offer the solution. So, and saving on the, the customer side to save on the, the sending someone to check the, the water tank or the diesel tank, or be sure there is no delay on the delivery. That's it. The numbers are really huge, and that's a clear saving for the customers to automate the solution and be sure everything is under control.
Excellent. One of the hardest things about the IoT space that we've heard from customers and people that are in the industry has been the integration or the integratability of all these parts and pieces in order to solve a customer's problem. Whether you need to focus specifically on the application or the entire solution, I think that integratability or integration of all those parts sometimes is the hardest part for resellers and channel partners and systems integrators and everything else like that. So my question to both of you is, how much of a challenge is that? And how do you help companies get through that integratability needs for their clients? So, I mean, you want to start?
Yep. So, to be honest, based on the experiences we had with the customers in the industrial application, I think that's a future challenge, and that's the winners in this area are those understand this integratability and provide or offer the solution has this capability in a hardware level and in a software level. And on top of that, when we are talking to the customers, there is a level of customization or making the product application centric for those customers. We see this, the feedback from the customers. Yes, we are a pressure sensor manufacturer, we are a level sensor manufacturer, but the concerns and the requirements of the customer in the mining industry is totally different from the, the agriculture or the farmer. So for the farmer, simplicity and the cost is critical. But when we talk to the mining or oil and gas customer, certifications, SCADA system integrations, and the robustness of the product is a challenge. So on top of that, you have a range of the sensor. These sensors should be, they work together and they should work with the different, the communication technologies and integrate to different platforms. So that makes the solutions really complex, and it needs maybe new level of standards, standardization of the products, and make it more clear for the customers, okay, what would be the best integration side. Still, we are on the earlier stage of that, and I think needs lots of development in the future.
Fabio?
Yeah, I think the key word here is really to be prepared for integration, right? So again, as I mentioned before, so companies already have their system in place, right? They're operating. So there are a lot of things that probably don't need to be changed right now. So if you add something, let's say our platform that's connect hundreds of different type of sensors on it, we need to make sure that that's going to be ready to send the data to any of the system. So almost every time we talk with customers before the onboard and during the onboard with the technical team, even or just with their business developer, the question is, do you have APIs? Do you have SDKs? How do I integrate this with IBM, Microsoft, AWS, SAP system, and so on? And we know how to do that. We create very open APIs for that. So it's not only to get raw data, but have triggers and trigger actions to be run maybe in other systems. Maybe their intelligence, maybe their machine learning, you'll be in the other system, in the third part, fourth part, right? So integration is really fundamental. For example, get to the practical side, you may monitor a machine, but then you have all the sensors together in the machine. Maybe this machine is moving and there is a GPS on this machine for indoor or outdoor with a GPS. And maybe and probably this company already have the information for the location of this machine in their system. So they don't need to add another sensor. So you just integrate the system. So that is very, for us, is very basic. And everybody get that since the beginning.
You brought up two things that are pet peeves of mine and have been for the last several years. And number one is education. And we have a lack of education in the sense that we are constantly needing to educate not only vendor partners and systems integrators and resellers and distributors, but also our customers and the prospects that are out there, educating them on all the things that you both of your companies sell to them, understanding the data and all those pieces. But integration is definitely one of the biggest holes we have, and one of the biggest challenges I see for all of us, in the sense that you still have a lot of moving parts that need to be integrated to complete a full end-to-end industrial IoT solution. So how's that for wrapping up the 25 minutes into what we're talking about? So in our last couple of minutes, I wanted to put some conclusions around this. So Amin and Fabio, I would like you guys to give me a conclusion statement that wraps around the IoT, industrial IoT end-to-end solution. Tell me what you think about the future. What are you seeing for the remainder of this year as far as opportunities in this space? Just, give me a little idea of what you're thinking. So why don't you, Amin, you're our guest. Why don't you go first?
Yeah, thank you very much. So as mentioned, I think in the future, near future, that integrability and having a product have this capability is, at least for Ellenex, that's a key focus. So have these solutions work together, hardware to hardware, hardware to machine, and software hardware together. I think that's a big task. We put the title of system of systems. Maybe that's a big name for that, but I think that's a kind of the future in the future for this IoT. Just some simple examples, for the agriculture applications. So we have a tank level monitoring solutions. We have a pump performance monitoring solutions. We have a rain sensor. But I think in the future, the added value would be, okay, so how we can integrate these, the sensors together. You tweak the level sensor or the pump with the rain sensor, or the rain sensor with the other one, and understand these relations on the software level to provide more added value to the customers. Customer wants to, they reduce the pain. Customer wants to reduce the cost. They don't care what's the technology, what's the sensor type, or how they are interacting. That simplification of this complexity, I think, would be something we have to focus on that in the future.
And I mean, how do people get a hold of you at Ellenex to look at your products and to get a better feel for the things that the solutions that you solve with your products?
I think the best is, to just visit our website, ellenex.com. So we have a page for the solution. Yes, that's more titles of the solutions we already implemented in the industry. And we are more than happy, just, they send us the email or fill our form. We will be in touch.
Excellent. Great. And Fabio, why don't you conclude us on your vision for the future around industrial IoT, and what do you think for the rest of this year?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I agree with me. And maybe just to add on top, I think one thing that's really going to come, and frankly, we are working on that, we're going to elaborate more in the future, is the process on the edge, right? So that is still a barrier that I see, because there are some options around, but there are a lot of challenges because it looks like so different from the cloud, like additional. So I think when companies get this right and get closer, like, hey, you can design in the cloud, you can get a part and having the edge without duplicating things. I think that you're gonna create another big step in terms of adoption inside of an industry, right? You cannot rely on your connectivity, outdoor connectivity, let's say, for your production, right? If something goes wrong there, you need to continue producing things. So I think that's one. And that is something that we're working, by the way. So to get more information, take a look in our website. We have cases. If you go to TagoIO, you see the cases based on the industry sectors. Industrial application is one of them, and we are adding more and more cases there. And of course, then you can navigate and create the account from the beginning at no cost and get examples and connect the sensors like Ellenex right away in a few clicks.
Excellent. And I'm going to say that the rest of this year is going to be an absolutely fabulous IoT year. We have never had more solutions, both from a product standpoint and a software application standpoint, and platforms like you that you have at Tago, Fabio. What a one coverage is not an issue. I think you're right. I think it's that integration piece and taking on the role of and responsibilities around that. But the ROIs are there, the case studies are there. It's a great time to be a vendor, and it's a great time to be an end user customer because everything is available. So, and I'm going to conclude that. Again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Amin and Fabio at 8 a.m. Eastern time, live around the world for this one for sure. And we'll let you know about our next one next month. We're trying to figure out our next guest. So if you're interested in guests, contact Fabio and we can go from there. But this is Steve Brummer from IoT Group. Kind of signing off this morning. If you need anything from any of us, you can reach us at our websites or email us. And we're very thrilled that you were able to join us first thing this morning. So thank you guys for getting up and doing this. And we'll see you next month on Executive Briefings by TagoIO.